Welcome, everyone. My name is Owen Johnson, and welcome to our next level webinar of how to avoid a $20 million cybersecurity mistake. This presentation is being hosted by New Horizons and will be delivered by Amanda Zimmer of Logical Operations. As you know, New Horizons is the world's largest independent training organization. We have 2,100 classrooms with 2,600 instructors in 56 countries. We offer traditional instructor-led training in classrooms. We also have online live training where a student in any location can take a class with a live instructor no matter their location, from work, from home, or at a New Horizons center near them. We also offer custom training for our clients, customized for their needs at our center or at the client center. Now, who should attend this seminar? Anybody can, from CIOs to end users, because everyone plays a key role in cybersecurity today. So what are you going to get out of this seminar? Well, we're going to tell you a little bit about where cybersecurity has come from and where it's going. We're going to talk about the breadth of challenges facing IT people today, and we're going to give you some solutions and some classes that you can think about taking with New Horizons. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce Amanda Zimmer of Logical Operations. Amanda?
Thank you, Owen. As he introduced me, I'm Amanda Zimmer, Business Development Manager at Logical Operations. Logical Operations is a leading information security courseware and certification developer. Today we are going to be talking about how to avoid a $20 million cybersecurity mistake, with that mistake, of course, being a data breach. Logical Operations and New Horizons are striving to help organizations like yours strengthen their security posture. This webinar is being recorded and can be viewed on the NH Learning Solutions YouTube channel. Let's get started. In a relatively short period of time, our access to information has changed drastically through networking. From being able to read and store files on our own computers, to sharing files with colleagues in the same building, and then connecting with colleagues in buildings throughout the world via the internet. Today, we also carry our own devices everywhere we go and use them to connect to resources at home, in our places of work, and as guests on open networks. For many individuals and companies, data is being stored in the cloud for access anytime, anywhere. The benefit is obvious. We have information at our fingertips. The risks, however, are growing: theft of intellectual property, loss of control, and security breaches, to name a few.
That's an interesting point as far as how we can get to information from anywhere today. And that's been a key role in security and cybersecurity for a long, long time. In a recent article in Popular Science, the article was entitled "The Future of War" and talked about how cybersecurity is going to be a main element in the future. And what the article discusses is that how in World War II, one of America's primary defenses is that German and Japanese planes couldn't get to us. Well, in the cyber age, that's no longer a factor. Someone on a computer anywhere in the world can get to a machine connected to the internet anywhere else in the world. So as the article states, the first shots fired in a future conflict are most likely going to be cyber and not real.
You're right, Owen. It is a global challenge. Some of the largest, most globally recognized brands have been breached due to the inability to keep pace with a growing number of highly sophisticated hackers. Cybercrime knows no boundaries. It does not solely affect the Fortune 500 or G20 governments. It is a real concern for every individual and organization that has an internet presence. It is not just someone else's concern. It is a concern that we all need to be thinking about. Despite what you see on the front page, everyone is a target. The issue of cybercrime is not limited to large multinational corporations. It is not constrained to any one industry or geographical region. Large organizations are an obvious target as they hold large quantities of highly valuable data. A successful data breach of a large organization will likely gain international notoriety, which could become a secondary goal of the perpetrator. With all of that said, small businesses are equally at risk. Smaller organizations typically have less resources dedicated to security. Most rely on IT professionals to perform security functions, and those teams are stretched thin. Small businesses work with large corporations, and that relationship provides access that hackers will try to take advantage of. Small businesses may become collateral damage in an effort to take down the larger target. Data is valuable. Industries that are data heavy are at the biggest risk of a breach. Medical records are incredibly valuable as they contain all manners of personal information needed to take out credit and receive services in victims' names. They're most valuable, ironically, for the non-medical information that they contain. Banking and finance organizations with the billions of confidential records that they have is an obvious target. Energy companies and those that secure and service our critical infrastructure are increasingly targeted for risk. We're not winning the cyber war. Hackers have a distinct advantage over us today, and we need to catch up quickly to prevent future loss. Hackers are extremely smart and understand the complexities of international politics and business. They leverage conflict for personal gain and target areas of the world that lack computer literacy. Likewise, multinational organizations need to be particularly concerned. The nature of their operations exposes them to many more potential threats. As the Internet of Things becomes a driver of the global economy, we must consider how we are securing all devices that are connected. This will be increasingly difficult moving forward, but it's something that is critical to the continued growth of our society.
That concept of the Internet of Things is a very interesting one. For those of you who don't know, that term, the Internet of Things, is a very large trend right now where Internet capabilities, wireless access, is being put into everyday devices. You've probably heard of the Nest thermometer that you can get for your house, which is web-enabled. You can change your thermostat from your phone or from your network. Also, things like home security cameras where you can monitor your children or your pets from work or when you're on vacation. Well, this topic was covered in a recent episode of Nova Science Now, in an episode called Can Science Stop Crime? And one of the parts of the episode focused on a team from the University of Washington, led by a white hat hacker and computer scientist named Yoshi Kono. Now, what his team's task was to do is see what types of devices, these new internet-connected devices, they could hack into. Their purpose was to show the producers of these products that they had security vulnerabilities that the public needed to know about. And the breadth of the devices that they were able to hack into was pretty frightening. They were able to successfully hack into electronic voting devices. They were able to hack into a Wi-Fi enabled car, stopping it dead in its tracks or unlocking the keys so someone could steal it. They were even able to hack into an implanted medical device, a pacemaker, in someone's body. So whether we're talking about rigging an election or stealing your car or overloading your pacemaker, you can see how cybersecurity is a pretty frightening topic, no matter whether we're talking about multinational corporations, governments, or just you and me.
And what is that all costing us? A recent survey by the Ponemon Institute shows that the average cost of cybercrime for U.S. companies ranges from $8.6 to $20.8 million. It is now no longer a question of if a company will be affected by cybercrime, but when. We need to shift focus to mitigating the damage when attacks occur. On average, it takes 170 days to detect that a cyber attack has occurred. Once detected, it takes an average of 45 days to resolve that issue. That's nearly half a year's worth of stolen data. Imagine the financial benefits of decreasing our detection and response times and what that would mean for our organizations. In many cases, the cost is also someone's job. Someone needs to shoulder the blame for the breach, and we have seen it more and more that that someone is not a person in the IT department, but the CEO or other senior level executives.
Amanda, we've seen where hacking has come from. We can see where it's going in the breadth of the problem. So what do we do about it? And what can our participants today get out of this?
Well, it's going to take a concerted effort to develop a sound security strategy in order to secure your organization's networks. This involves a combination of hardware and software solutions, process, and people. Sound security means solutions are working together, leveraging their given strengths to meet the common goal of keeping the bad guys out. When one is weak, the organization is vulnerable. People are critically important to preventing attacks. Companies can spend millions implementing hardware and software solutions and processes aimed at securing networks, but if the people working within that process, within that infrastructure, are not properly trained to enforce an organization's security capabilities, you are still not secure.
So on one hand, we say that the people are an organization's greatest asset, but couldn't you also say that they're also the biggest liability?
You certainly can. Everyone within an organization needs to play a role in security, and we need to develop training strategies that accept that reality. Organizations that will be most successful in dealing with the threat of cybercrime are those that arm every employee with the knowledge they need to keep the data they work with secure. Investing in end-user awareness training is critical in making sure your biggest potential liabilities understand their role. Equipping your IT team with the skills and knowledge necessary to play an active role in security instantly increases the cybersecurity resources at your disposal, and ensuring that your security team is ready to detect, defend, and respond when needed. There is a disconnect between the way we approach training IT professionals and the way they'll be required to effectively function on the job. Traditional cybersecurity courseware has focused on the theory of how systems function and communicate, and focuses on how hackers might infiltrate systems. Many training programs have typically been tied to specific systems and IT platforms. Additionally, many training programs focus on very narrow skill sets within information security. A student may spend 5 days honing their penetration testing skills, but this is only one small piece of securing a network. Many programs that we see today fail to develop an understanding of how security fits within larger initiatives of an organization. Rather, they keep security a concern just for the IT department. Bridging the gap between security teams and that wider organization is key to bettering your security posture.
So how do we even know where to begin? I mean, what should we be thinking about? What areas need our attention, and by whom?
So to help us figure this out, the National Cybersecurity Workforce Framework was developed by the National Initiative of Cybersecurity Education, NICE. The intention of the framework was to describe cybersecurity work regardless of an organization's structure or their job titles by establishing set guidelines within specific specialty areas. Depending on organization size, an employee could perform duties within one or more of these areas. We'll quickly run through the individual specialty areas within the framework in order to better understand the skills that are needed. As we do this, think about what specialty areas your staff is currently covering and where there are gaps which could expose you to potential attacks. While event detection and incident response are buzzwords in the industry today, there's still merit to building systems that could prevent breaches in the first place. Individuals within the securely provisioned specialty area are responsible for design and construction of secure IT systems.
So in this portion of the framework, we're talking about building a new system. So that could be maybe an upgrade. But what if we're not upgrading? What if we're just working with a system that we have? Is there something we have to think about for a system that's already in place?
Sure. Just as you said, the secure design of an information system is important. Its ongoing operation and maintenance is just as important. The world of cybersecurity is constantly changing, and organizations must develop processes that allow them to stay current with the latest technology and tools. The collection and development of threat intelligence is critical to identifying and mitigating real-world threats. Understanding cybersecurity risks will allow an organization to better prepare for a potential attack. This allows organizations to take a more active role in securing their information systems and can help to identify spying, insider threats, foreign sabotage attempts, terrorist-backed cyber attacks, and other potential threats before they affect information systems.
So we talked about being able to design a system that won't be hacked in the first place and maintaining a system that's already been in place. So this is really talking more about just identifying what kind of threats may we even be confronted with in the first place.
Absolutely. No amount of intelligence collection will serve an organization's cybersecurity goals without sound analysis. Individuals performing job functions related to this specialty area are charged with analyzing threat information from a variety of sources and evaluating those findings so that the organization can understand the possible implications of any given threat. They analyze information collected to identify vulnerabilities and the potential for misuse. With that said, knowing that something is a threat doesn't stop it from being so. Individuals performing functions within the protect and defend specialty area specialize in the identification, analysis, and reporting of events that occur or might occur within an information system. They also respond to cyber attacks, mitigating immediate and potential threats while minimizing loss of data and property. Additionally, they also perform vulnerability assessments to develop countermeasures to prevent threats. More than any other specialty area, the skills used to protect and defend an information system will help organizations cut down on the time it takes to detect and resolve an attack. Once an incident has occurred, the investigative process must begin. This can have multiple goals ranging from prosecuting perpetrators to gathering future intelligence. In either case, once a threat is mitigated, the work is just beginning. Organizations can use the intelligence gathered throughout this process to strengthen overall security moving forward, something that is a key in an ever-changing threat landscape.
So whereas a lot of the sections or specialties we talked about so far have to do with maybe a CIO or a server administrator, this is really where we start to see people in other departments, say like legal and the outside authorities really coming into play. Isn't that right?
It is. And that leads us into our final specialty area, which is oversight and development. While practitioners play an obvious role in securing a network, leadership from the top down is critical to ensuring a secure environment. From setting policies to developing educational strategies, senior leadership It's an alphabet soup of acronyms, and it's often difficult to discern what's the best option for your organization.
Okay, well, how do we decide? I mean, we have people in the audience thinking, well, my New Horizons account executive invited me here. What am I going to get out of this? You know, how do I even start to decide what to take, what classes my people need? Well, obviously, what we can tell all of our attendees is that your New Horizons account executive should be the first person to talk to. They're the ones that are going to know the courses that are available and the ones that might fit into your needs. We encourage you guys to have a discussion with your New Horizons account executive, but these are the types of things you should be talking about with them.
Yep. So you want to look at how security is managed within your organization and determine how many people have an active role in ensuring your networks are secure. What precautions do you have in place to prevent an attack? If an attack does occur, are you ready to respond? What role do end users play in keeping the bad guys out? Are they an asset or are they a liability? Once you've determined where you are, it's much easier to develop a better idea of where you need to go from a training perspective. Any good training program today will have a significant hands-on element. Ensure that the training program you choose emphasizes the use of lab environments to strengthen the learning experience and look for opportunities for students to continue learning outside of the classroom. While theory-based learning is important, the cyber war will be won in the trenches. Training programs must provide cybersecurity professionals a means by which to refine their skills before applying them in the real world.
I think that's a very important point. Obviously, anyone could go and buy a book about cybersecurity and read it. But that's why training with New Horizons is so important, because in our classes, yes, you get the book to learn about the theory, but we also put you in a live environment where you can practice what you learn, and so you hit the ground running when you get back to your office. It's not all theory and then you have to figure it out. You actually do it, and then you can get back to work and you can do it there too.
That's right, and a lot of the lab environments that New Horizons uses allows a student to have continued access post-class for up to as much as 6 months' time. Another area that you want to consider is vendor-neutral training. It's gaining a lot of traction in the marketplace, and though its appropriateness may be dependent on your current situation, it's worth looking at. If you're a company that uses Cisco, HP, or IBM products, it may make sense for you to focus on those vendor-specific training and certifications, but I'd still consider vendor-neutral solutions, regardless of what hardware and software vendors you use. These programs are going to equip your security teams with the skill set that can be applied across systems.
Now, we said earlier that the breadth of cybersecurity really touches on everyone in an organization. It's not an IT problem anymore. And what I think you can learn from this slide is what's your place in the organization. Are you an end user? Are you in the IT department? Are you security? Are you a director? Are you a CIO? What training might be useful for your role specifically? Obviously, a CIO taking an IT course or an end user taking a management course may not be that useful, and that's why we have a wide variety of training that focuses on all those types of job areas. So, Amanda, if you tell us a little bit about what would I focus on for certain types of job positions?
Sure. So let's take a look at end users. CyberSAFE, securing assets for end users, provides organizations the first step in getting end users thinking about security. The sad reality is that 95% of all cybersecurity incidences are due to some sort of human error. It can be as simple as clicking the wrong link, visiting the wrong website, or sharing your credentials with a coworker. Hackers have learned that the easiest way to access any company's data is through end users. Over a half a day or less of instructor-led content, CyberSAFE allows end users to develop the basic skills they need to play a proactive role in securing their organization's networks. Students develop skills through discussion with their colleagues and their instructor to understand their role in keeping the company's assets safe. Attendees take the CyberSAFE credential at the end of class, which validates their understanding of their role in securing information systems.
This is such an important topic, and a lot of people know that the weakest link in the chain are the end users. I have a colleague who works for an auditing company, and that's what they do. They test companies' IT backups, IT security systems, but they also test their end users, and it's very interesting when I learned how they do that. They'll do something as easily as take everyone out of their office, walk through the office flipping over keyboards and mouse pads and see who's written down their password when they shouldn't have. Or one of the auditors will sit in the lobby dialing different employees' phone numbers in the office and pretending that they're one of the IT people saying, hey, I need your password and username because I have to install a hotfix on your computer, and see who will comply with a person they've never met. And it's amazing that people will do that, but that is exactly the types of things that you'll learn in this course. We teach the people how to understand what a phishing attack is and know how to avoid it, understand how to develop better passwords, and best practices for using your computer inside the office or while traveling. So those are the types of things that you'll learn.
Another course I wanted to talk to you about is CyberSec First Responder, Threat Detection and Response, or what we call CFR for short. It's a different approach to security training. This course takes a holistic view, equipping professionals with the skills necessary to detect, defend, and respond to security threats through practical knowledge, hands-on learning, and real-world experience. An ideal student has 2 or more years of experience in computer networking, security, or a related field, and the suggested prerequisite training is CompTIA Security Plus. During class, a student will learn different environments, learn to work in different environments, such as Windows Server and Linux, giving them experience in multiple environments. They will practice their skills with tools such as Wireshark and Nmap, tools that they can begin to use on the job right away post-class. As a boot camp style class, CFR is 5 days of instructor-led training. And important to people who need to maintain CompTIA certifications, taking the CFR course will earn a student 29 CompTIA continuing education units, good towards maintaining their A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, or CASP certifications. And this class will prepare a student for the CyberSec First Responder certification exam. CFR takes the theory that is learned in Security Plus and teaches the student using hands-on activities to put that theory into practice. Detect, defend, and respond. The holistic approach of CFR brings together these 3 actions to create a well-balanced security responder, a role that may be appropriate for multiple staff members to achieve. Of course, specialized roles such as a penetration tester or a cyber analyst may be necessary in some organizations, and those specialized training courses fit well after CFR. With so much content covered in a 5-day period, we felt it was important to give students an opportunity to continually hone their skills outside of class. We have partnered with Blackfin's The Hacker Academy to develop the CFR Masterclass. This class will feature 60 on-demand modules mapped to the CFR course outline, all of which are accompanied by an immersive sandbox lab environment. In all, this provides students with 60+ additional hours of content and practice time. Every student that sits the CFR course will receive 90 days access to the CFR Masterclass free of charge.
Now that's a really good value-added piece, because obviously the things that you're going to learn in this class you want to practice, and the last place you're going to want to be practicing is your live network at your organization. So having a sandbox environment, that is a great asset.
Here's a look at some of the additional security courses that are available at New Horizons and the sample job roles that training would qualify someone for. I'll quickly run through some of them. Security Plus by CompTIA is 5 days of training. This course is targeted towards IT professionals who have networking and administrative skills and who wants to further their career in IT by acquiring a foundational knowledge of security topics. CFR, CyberSec First Responder, we just talked about that one, so I'll skip that. Cyber, Securing Cisco Networks with Threat Detection and Analysis is 5 days of training. This course is designed to teach students how a Network Security Operations Center, or a SOC, works, and how to begin to monitor, analyze, and respond to security threats within the network. CEH, or Certified Ethical Hacker, is an EC Council certification and is 5 days of training. This class will teach a student foundational knowledge on how to scan, test, hack, and secure their own systems. CHFI, Computer Hacking Forensic Investigator is also an EC Council certification and is also 5 days of training. This course will provide participants the necessary skills to identify an intruder's footprints after an attack and to properly gather the necessary evidence to prosecute in a court of law. We now move on to some of the certifications and training classes for security professionals with more years of experience. CISM, Certified Information Security Manager by ISACA, is 3 days of training. In this course, students will establish processes to ensure that information security measures align with established business needs. CASP, CompTIA Advanced Security Practitioner, is 5 days of training. In this course, students will examine advanced security concepts, principles, and implementation that pertain to enterprise-level security. And finally, CISSP, Certified Information System Security Professional, is 5 days of training. And in this course, students will analyze a wide range of information system security subjects that are organized into the 10 domains for the CASP exam.
Okay, so we've learned where cybersecurity and hacking came from. We learned where it's going. We learned the different areas of knowledge that we have to have as an organization. We learned about a whole bunch of different acronyms of different classes and certifications that we can get. So what should our participants do today? What's the next step?
Well, your next step is to review your internal security strategy from your end users to your highest senior level executives. Determine the skills that are necessary to fulfill that strategy, and then support those skills with training. And as you mentioned, your New Horizons account executives are there for support, and they're very knowledgeable and ready and willing to help you. So that concludes today's webinar. We thank you so much for listening, and we hope that you've learned something, or at least we've given you some things to think about. If there's any questions that come in, we'll take them now. Feel free to use the question or the question section on the GoToMeeting.
Well, while we wait for any questions to come in, I do want to thank Logical Operations and you specifically, Amanda, for telling us a whole bunch about security that we might not have known of before. I want to invite any of our participants today to look into our next session. If you go to newhorizons.com and look for Next Level Webinar, you can see all the upcoming sessions that we do, and we'll hopefully see you in one coming up very soon. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll just stay on for a few more minutes to see if anyone has any questions, but if not, thank you very much for attending, and hope you enjoyed it.
We do have a question that just came in.
Okay.
Question from one of our attendees. Can we get handouts from the presentation?
Yes, I'll have the slide deck available to your account exec, and we'll get it to you that way. If you could just type in who that is, we'll make sure we get it to you.
Yes, I've captured the person's name.
Great, thanks.
And the person responds with a big thank you.
Great. You're welcome.
You're very welcome.
And that looks like it's the end of the questions.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody.
Thank you for your time.
Oh, I'm sorry. One snuck in real quick.
Ooh.
Does end user training include social engineering as a topic?
Yes, it does. The outline for the CyberSAFE class is really 3 lessons. They help you identify the need for security, and then it moves on into, let me get my notes. So identifying your security compliance requirements and then recognizing social engineering are covered in the first lesson, and that moves into securing devices, and then the 3rd lesson is using the internet securely.
Okay, and that looks like it's the end of it for questions. So thanks to everyone. Thanks for the two presenters here. Thanks for everyone attending. I'll go ahead and shut down the meeting.